Indonesia's decision to pursue an Iver Huitfeldt-class variant marks one of the most consequential transformations of its naval posture in more than 2 decades, signaling a strategic pivot shaped by escalating pressures in the South China Sea and the growing complexity of regional maritime competition. This development is not simply about acquiring a new class of warship but about redefining Indonesia's place within the evolving Indo-Pacific balance of power. As the largest archipelagic nation in the world, stretching across more than 17,000 islands, Indonesia's security is inseparable from its ability to control its maritime domain. Sea dominance is not a luxury for Jakarta, it is a structural requirement for national survival. The modernization of the Indonesian Navy has long lagged behind the pace of regional militarization, but recent tensions, particularly those involving China near the Natuna Islands, have forced Jakarta to accelerate its naval ambitions, bringing it closer to capabilities traditionally associated with a medium maritime power. The balance of power in the South China Sea has shifted dramatically over the past 5 years. China's Coast Guard, maritime militia, and naval forces have expanded their presence across the southern reaches of the so-called Nine-Line, which Beijing uses to assert sweeping maritime claims. Despite Indonesia's firm rejection of these claims, Chinese surveillance operations, unauthorized fishing flotillas, and persistent monitoring missions have become increasingly common near the Natuna Islands. Jakarta recognizes that routine patrols and diplomatic protests are no longer sufficient to secure its maritime rights. What the situation demands is credible deterrence at sea, platforms that can not only project presence but also meaningfully complicate an adversary's calculus. For a country seeking to protect its maritime sovereignty against an assertive regional power, high-end surface combatants equipped with advanced radars, long-range sensors, and layered air defenses are essential. This is where the Iver Huitfeldt-class warship becomes strategically relevant. Technically a frigate in Danish classification, the platform is in reality a destroyer by displacement and capability, exceeding 6,600 tons and designed with sophisticated mission systems. It combines long-range surveillance radars, a powerful vertical launch system, and modular architecture that makes it adaptable to Indonesia's industrial constraints and budgetary limitations. Unlike many European combatants of comparable size, the Huitfeldt-class was deliberately engineered for cost efficiency. Denmark achieved this by constructing much of the hull using commercial-grade standards, while concentrating military-grade investments on combat systems, sensors, and weapons. This hybrid approach results in a ship equipped with the capabilities of a high-end destroyer at a price closer to that of a mid-tier frigate. For Indonesia, a nation that needs large numbers of durable, well-armed vessels without breaking its defense budget, this model is compelling. From a technical and operational standpoint, the Huitfeldt-class represents a generational leap for the Indonesian Navy. At 138 meters in length and with a flight deck capable of supporting medium helicopters, the ship brings a level of endurance and operational reach that Indonesia has never possessed. Even more transformative is its sensor suite. If Indonesia adopts the full APR and Smart L radar configuration, the platform would provide long-range detection, area air defense management, and fire control capabilities unmatched anywhere in Southeast Asia. A vertical launch system accommodating 32 to 48 cells opens the door for fielding advanced missiles such as the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile, ESSM, or the Standard Missile family, giving Indonesia its first true layered air defense capability. This fundamentally alters the Navy's operational profile, allowing it to defend not just itself but an entire task group. The importance of this transformation becomes clear when contrasted with Indonesia's existing fleet. Despite incremental improvements, platforms like the Bung Tomo-class remain limited in air defense capability, functioning primarily as lightly armed frigates. The Sigma 10514 class ships are practical and versatile but optimized for patrol and general-purpose missions rather than high-end warfare. Even the upcoming Garuda FM frigates being developed with Italy focus heavily on anti-submarine warfare rather than air defense. What Indonesia has lacked is a cornerstone, a dedicated, heavily armed area air defense combatant able to anchor a balanced fleet structure. The Huitfeldt fills that void. For the first time, Indonesia is on the verge of fielding a surface combatant capable of coordinating operations across air, surface, and subsurface domains while shielding an entire naval formation from aerial threats. This shift also carries broader regional implications. The Philippines, through Horizon 3 modernization, is rapidly expanding its naval and missile capabilities, adding corvettes, submarines, and extended-range precision weapons. Although Manila's platforms remain smaller, generally between 2,600 and 3,500 tons, they are increasingly sophisticated due to partnerships with South Korea, Japan, and the United States. Together, the Philippines and Indonesia are forming a distributed but mutually reinforcing defensive posture across the South China Sea. Manila anchors the eastern and central axis, while Jakarta strengthens the southwestern flank. Even without a formal alliance, the convergence of their modernization trajectories complicates China's strategic planning and strengthens deterrence along the region's most contested maritime corridor. The Huitfeldt-class also offers strategic advantages in command and control. Its large internal volume supports more robust operations centers, communications suites, and auxiliary power systems, capabilities essential for Indonesia's long-term goal of achieving network-centric maritime operations. A future task group built around a Huitfeldt flagship, supported by FM-class ASW frigates and upgraded Sigma variants, would give Jakarta a flexible tool for crisis management, extended patrols, and convoy escort missions across vulnerable shipping routes. This is particularly relevant as Indonesia reassesses its security priorities along the Malacca-Natuna, South China Sea axis, an area that remains critical to global maritime trade and regional stability. However, these ambitions come with challenges. Even if PT-PAL constructs the hull domestically, Indonesia will still need to import the most complex subsystems, including the combat management system, vertical launch cells, radars, and missiles. These components constitute the bulk of the cost and complexity of a modern warship. Budgetary fluctuations, political shifts, and exchange rate volatility could pressure Jakarta into scaling down core capabilities. An under-equipped Huitfeldt would represent a lost strategic opportunity. Operational challenges are equally significant. Maintaining a 6,600-ton warship requires advanced logistics, specialized training pipelines, and significantly improved fleet management practices. Without parallel investment in human capital and maintenance infrastructure, the ship's full potential may remain unrealized. Another major factor concerns long-term strategic alignment. Denmark and other European suppliers offer world-class technology, but Indonesia must evaluate the resilience of these supply chains in crisis conditions. This consideration fits into Jakarta's broader diversification strategy, which increasingly leans on partnerships with South Korea, Japan, and Turkey. The value of a high-end destroyer-like platform is inseparable from the durability of the ecosystem supporting it. Spare parts, upgrades, munitions, and technical expertise must remain accessible even under geopolitical stress. Despite these risks, Indonesia's pursuit of the Huitfeldt-class is a rational and strategically coherent step. It reflects Jakarta's willingness to confront growing Chinese pressure with credible, high-end capabilities and signals its emergence as a true medium maritime power in the Indo-Pacific. The move strengthens a developing two-axis defensive structure in the South China Sea, where Philippine modernization supports the northern and eastern front, while Indonesia secures the southern and western perimeter. Together, this distributed posture increases regional resilience and raises the cost of coercion. Indonesia is not merely buying a ship, it is reshaping its naval identity. If executed correctly, this platform will redefine the Indonesian Navy's posture for the next decade, providing the range, protection, and situational awareness needed for a modern fleet. It marks the convergence of size, capability, and strategic clarity in Indonesian maritime planning. And in a region where sea power is increasingly synonymous with political influence, Indonesia's turn toward the Iver Huitfeldt-class is one of its clearest signals yet. Jakarta intends to defend its waters with the seriousness of a nation fully aware of the stakes.